nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Hey there, welcome back. It's no secret that Minecraft's witch hut is arguably one of its most basic structures. No hate, but it's very close to being a spruce plank on sticks, you know? But this Halloween, I intend to change that by adding a bit of variety to the block palette, as well as my own flair, all the while sticking to the base structure of the initial build. But first, get the fuck out of here. This is my house now. Starting off, I had to move the witch hut to a different location because the initial place, well, that ain't it, chief. But once the initial build was pasted in, I decided to make it a little bit larger by adding a couple blocks to the length, width, and height. Now, I gotta be honest, but up until this point, I'd always thought that the witch hut was a cube. Well, it's not, and it turns out that I've been pulling a stupid for many, many years. Regardless, after I extended the dimensions of the build, I knocked out the bottom spruce planks and replaced them with jungle stairs. Then I knocked out the interior to make room for my own modifications. Now, moving on to the roof, I wanted to keep my design as similar to the initial structure as possible. However, instead of spruce, I decided to use blackstone stairs as a trim all around the build. As for the walls, I decided to replace the spruce planks with stripped jungle logs. And to be honest, I absolutely love the spruce and jungle combination. I think it gives off this great, cozy vibe. Moving back to the top, I decided to fill in the roof with deep slate. I also added some ventilation towards the front of the build, cause, you know, if the witch is brewing potions in the house, she ain't trying to huff those fumes. Or maybe she is, cause I really wouldn't know. After that, all I'm doing is inverting some of the stairs on the trim. But that, in addition to some simple texturing, makes the roof really pop. If you think about it, I really didn't do all that much. But just by inverting a few stairs, the roof has become all the more interesting. And with that, the base exterior of the build is now finished. Moving on to the interior, I used a 5x5 checkerboard pattern for the floor. I filled up the back wall using some stripped jungle logs, and I added a little bit of subtle texturing just by playing around with the direction placement of the logs. Once the interior was completely closed off, I moved on to the front of the build to work on the porch. Here, I didn't change all that much, but I did replace the supports with some stripped spruce logs, and I added a trim of spruce trapdoors. Now, if you're trying to transform this in your own world and you want to stick as close to the base initial form as possible, I'd say all you need to work on from here is the interior, as well as some external texturing. However, I was inspired to go a little bit further, just by adding on a pair of legs, similar to what was seen in The Witcher Season 2. This was my first time building anything organic. Well, I mean, besides trees and other shit like that, but all things considered, I think it turned out pretty well. And if you also want to build something like this, I would highly recommend that you go online, find some real-life reference images, and use those to make the build. Once the legs were finished and all textured up, I moved on to the interior, adding a campfire for some smoke particles, as well as a cauldron, brewing stand, bed, and other amenities. But hey, who says evil witches can't live in comfort? I also added another garden in the back of the build, cause if this house is moving, the witch is probably gonna want to bring her potion brewing ingredients along for the ride. And with a little bit of exterior detailing, the main building is finished. However, we ain't done just yet. This landscape transformation is actually heavily inspired by Spikosaurus's own witch hut transformation. Link in the description, go check it out. All I'm doing is adding in a riverbed, then filling it up with lava and layers of stained glass. Unfortunately, my computer is not strong enough to render in all the necessary chunks at one time, so I will speed up this part of the coverage, and I apologize if it looks a little weird. Now I'll be switching the time to night, just so you'll have a better idea of the effect that I'm going for. All I'm doing is placing in 5 or 6 layers of yellow or lime glass. It's pretty simple, but the end result produces this murky green color that I'm really happy with. After that, I retextured the landscape, making it look darker and more muddy. Next, I painted in a quick pathway for the house to walk on, but looking at the landscape, I felt that it was flat and missing something. Since I wanted to get this build out by Halloween, I was running short on time. However, I decided to make these crappy trees, which I'm honestly not that proud of, but they do get the job done. But with that, the entire build is finished. And I gotta say, it turned out pretty damn good. I mean, we got everything a witch could possibly ask for. We got a nice garden area out back, as well as an extremely comfortable interior. And if you just take away the legs, the house portion of the build is very similar to the base vanilla structure, which in the end is what I was going for all along. But if you want to pick up this as a world download, you can do so for free on my Patreon, link in the description. If you like my content, then I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like or a subscribe, and comment below what you think I should do a transformation of next. But that's gonna have to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.